Once again, they waited. The day passed. The weapon barrage did not resume. The robots did not leave. The bluff was called. And now, the robots faced the Jovian radio code expert once again. If the ZZ models had been equipped with a sense of humor, they would have enjoyed themselves immensely. As it was, they felt merely a solemn sense of satisfaction. The Jovian said, "It has been our decision that you will be allowed to remain for a very short time, so that you see our power for yourself. You shall then return to Ganymede to inform your companion vermin of the disastrous end to which they will unfailingly come within a solar revolution." ZZ-1 made a mental note that a Jovian revolution took 12 earthly years. 3 said casually, "Thank you. May we accompany you to the nearest town? There are many things we would like to learn." He added as an afterthought, "Our ship is not to be touched, of course." He said this as a request, not as a threat, for no ZZ model was ever pugnacious. All capacity for even the slightest annoyance had been carefully barred in their construction. With robots as vastly powerful as the ZZs, unfailing good temper was essential for safety during the years of testing on Earth. The Jovian said, "We are not interested in your verminous ship. No Jovian will pollute himself by approaching it. You may accompany us, but you must on no account approach closer than 10 feet to any Jovian, or you will be instantly destroyed." "Stuck up, aren't they?" observed 2 in a genial whisper, as they plowed into the wind. The town was a port on the shores of an incredible ammonia lake. The external wind whipped furious, frothy waves that shot across the liquid surface at the hectic rate enforced by the gravity. The port itself was neither large nor impressive, and it seemed fairly evident that most of the construction was underground. "What is the population of this place?" asked 3. The Jovian replied, "It is a small town of 10 million. "I see. Make a note of that, 1. ZZ-1 did so mechanically, and then turned once more to the lake, at which he had been staring in fascination. He pulled at 3's elbow. "Say, do you suppose they have fish here?" "What difference does it make?" "I think we ought to know. The human masters ordered us to find out everything we could." Of the robots, 1 was the simplest, and consequently the one who took orders in the most literal fashion. 2 said, "Let 1 go and look if he likes. It won't do any harm if we let the kid have his fun." "All right. There's no real objection. If he doesn't waste his time, fish aren't what we came for. But go ahead, 1. ZZ-1 made off in great excitement and slogged rapidly down the beach, plunging into the ammonia with a splash. The Jovians watched attentively. They had understood none of the previous conversation, of course. The radio code expert clicked out, "It is apparent that your companion has decided to abandon life in despair at our greatness." 3 said in surprise, "Nothing of the sort. He wants to investigate the living organisms, if any, that live in the ammonia." He added apologetically, "Our friend is very curious at times, and he isn't quite as bright as we are, though that is only his misfortune. We understand that and try to humor him whenever we can." There was a long pause, and the Jovian observed, "He will drown." 3 replied casually, "No danger of that. We don't drown. May we enter the town as soon as he returns?" At that moment, there was a spurt of liquid several hundred feet out in the lake. It sprayed upward wildly, and then hurtled down in a wind-driven mist. Another spurt, and another. Then a wild white foaming that formed a trail toward shore, gradually quieting as it approached. The two robots watched this in amazement, and the utter lack of motion on the part of the Jovians indicated that they were watching as well. Then the head of ZZ-1 broke the surface, and he made his slow way out onto dry land. But something followed him. Some organism of gigantic size that seemed nothing but fangs, claws, and spines. Then he saw that it wasn't following him under its own power, but was being dragged across the beach by ZZ-1. There was a significant flabbiness about it. ZZ-1 approached rather timidly and took communication into his own hands. He tapped out a message to the Jovian in agitated fashion. "I am very sorry this happened, but the thing attacked me. I was merely making notes on it. It is not a valuable creature, I hope." He was not answered immediately, for at the first appearance of the monster, there had been a wild break in the Jovian ranks. These reformed slowly, and cautious observation having proven the creature to be indeed dead, order was restored. Some of the bolder were curiously prodding the body. ZZ-3 said humbly, "I hope you will pardon our friend. He is sometimes clumsy. We have absolutely no intention of harming any Jovian creature." "He attacked me," explained one. "He bit at me without provocation. See?" And he displayed a 2-foot fang that ended in a jagged break. "He broke it on my shoulder and almost left a scratch. I just slapped it a bit to send it away, and it died. I'm sorry." The Jovian finally spoke, and his code-clicking was a rather stuttery affair. "It is a wild creature, rarely found so close to shore, but the lake is deep just here." Three said, still anxiously, "If you can use it for food, we are only too glad." "No, we can get food for ourselves without the help of others. Eat it yourself." At that, ZZ-1 heaved the creature up and back into the sea with an easy motion of one arm. Three said casually, "Thank you for your kind offer, but we have no use for food. We don't eat, of course." Escorted by 200 or so armed Jovians, the robots passed down a series of ramps into the underground city. If above the surface the city had looked small and unimpressive, then from beneath it took on the appearance of a vast megalopolis. They were ushered into ground cars that were operated by remote control, for no honest, self-respecting Jovian would risk his superiority by placing himself in the same car with vermin, and driven at frightful speed to the center of town. They saw enough to decide that it extended 50 miles from end to end, and reached downward into Jupiter's crust at least 8 miles. ZZ-2 did not sound happy as he said, "If this is a sample of Jovian development, then we shall not have a hopeful report to bring back to the human masters. After all, we landed on the vast surface of Jupiter at random, with the chances 1,000 to 1 against coming near any really concentrated center of population. This must be, as the code expert says, a mere town." 10 million Jovians, said Three abstractedly. Total population must be in the trillions, which is high, very high, even for Jupiter. They probably have a completely urban civilization, which means that their scientific development must be tremendous. If they have force fields... Three had no neck, for in the interest of strength, the heads of the ZZ models were riveted firmly onto the torso, with the delicate positronic brains protected by 3 separate layers in inch-thick iridium alloy.